Wait. Let's see if I can do it. Wait, somebody turn the lights off in the studio because that's how they bring them on in the arena. And now your Orlando Magic, and I'm going to introduce right now none other than the head coach of the Orlando Magic, Mr. Steve Clifford. We stole him from Charlotte. We had to have him, so we got him here with us tonight, and we have him here in Orlando to be a part of this great city. Coach, how you doing this evening, sir?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
No, that's a great point. And Coach Clifford, Dr. Nelson made a very good point. He said that you called him about this community engagement. What was it about this particular community or this particular engagement that made you say, hey, this is something that I want to be a part of, something that I need to engage in?
Well, actually, with Dr. Nelson, this goes back a few weeks where we did a Zoom call one day with Dr. Nelson, myself, Jeff Weltman, our president of basketball operations here, Linda Lim and Gonzalez, and Todd Corbin, one of our coaches. And he went into great detail about his plans to come into Orlando, to speak with both the police and then community leaders. So, I saw like the structure. I saw how we had done this in other communities. And, I just kind of got on the internet and read about him. So, I was confident that it would be, just a great thing to experience. And it was educational. He got into everything from policing nationally to locally to specific things in Orlando and Paramore. And I agree with what everybody said so far. It was an incredible learning experience and a very well spent 4 hours.
Now, Coach, I'm gonna throw another hard one at you because you've been a lot of different places in your career as a coach and things of that nature. Is it anything that you took, or I should say, is anything? What did you take from this particular engagement that you feel could be beneficial to other communities, as in the communities that you've been in, worked in, that you've coached in? What could you take from this and say, hey, we can put this in other places and it would be beneficial to others?
Well, I think the structure of Dr. Nelson's program, where he is spending time with both law enforcement and then with, people within the community, listening to both sides and then getting everyone's perspective out there so that there's discussion. I think it's healthy. And I also think that he's so experienced and has such great knowledge on the subject matter that when he needed to, I think that he challenged people in a way that brought up more discussion. And then also he's so factual and well-versed, and, he uses statistics to show people his perspective. And I just think his whole approach is so beneficial for everybody on both sides.
Well, Coach, let me say, going back, and I hate to say it, Greg, 30 years, Dr. Nelson taught me that, let the numbers speak for themselves. Let the numbers be a guide for you. Dr. Nelson, here's one for you, because I know you're working with Jacksonville Jaguars, but here's something that you often talk about. People come to these, Greg, and they're ready to fight. They're ready to point fingers. Dr. Nelson, you often talk about two-way accountability. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, no, I don't want to act like this was a come by y'all moment this Saturday. I mean, there was some serious and frank conversation. You had hurt, years and generations of hurt in that room as well now. So it was true. And even with law enforcement, usually when you go train law enforcement, they blame the media and social media and elements of the community. When you talk to the community, they blame law enforcement. It's easier to deflect and look at faults in others than it is to do some introspection and say, what can I do? So, and I allowed both groups in the community, I allowed them to get it all out. And they did. We had some passion. They were able to get that out. And I also did it with the police. So after you blame elements of the community, after you blame social media, what can we do better? That's what Chief Malone has done. I have to give him credit. He's always saying that we can do better. Because when you can't, and you'll have officers say, we're doing this. Well, the community is not feeling it. And if the only time a black or brown kid sees law enforcement is when they're coming in arresting, even if they're arresting the bad guy, it's like Pavlov's dog. I associate you with negative. So it'll be hard to recruit and bring folk in when that's all they see of law enforcement. And on the flip side of that, a 3-year-old, a 14-year-old child killed in broad daylight in a community and no one knows or sees anything. That's not the police. I can get rid of every racist or bad police officer, but it wouldn't change the violence in some of our communities. So we have to do some introspection there as well.
Speaking of the tough conversations, Coach Clifford, was there anything that you took from the conversation or took from that meeting that you had no idea, the community had issues with, that you were able to take back with you and say, you know what, we can do better as a community on this? Not say as a person, but as a community, we can do better on these things that I didn't know about.
Yeah, there were a number of things that I wrote down that, like I said, it was really educational for me. But one of the things that I wrote down to find out more about would be the coordination between the Orange County Police Department and the City Police Department, and how, whether it's boundaries or how that works. And that was one of the things that was discussed that I had never even thought about, because I do know, or I'm pretty sure, that there are actually different local policies in place for the county and for the city. And so I can see how that can be, an issue, within our area here.
Wow.